we will discuss what we have learned today, and in particular, what actions we want to see, tangible actions we want to see going forward, so that next year when we come, we will demonstrate what change has occurred between now and the period next year. What we want is that this will be a transformational event. That is not, as everybody, we continue to say, it shouldn't be a talk shop, right? It should be somewhere we convene, share ideas, but the ideas are concrete enough to transform into tangible, actionable items that we can measure in a year's time, in 2 years' time, and so on. So I have a wonderful panel here to discuss these issues with me. I imagine all of you participated fully in all the sessions. If you didn't, we are in trouble, because all of us together, we can reflect what was discussed here. I'm sure it will not be just one person, right? So let me do this. I would go from the far end all the way to Abraham. We will start with, in the sessions that you participated in, what is the number one or two things that you took away that you say we would be able to transform this into an actionable item? And if that is, what actionable item should that be? Is it too difficult?
No, it's not too difficult.
Don't explain with diagrams, just explain.
Thank you very much, Percival, for that. I sat in several sessions and I did reflect a lot. So that reflection gave me 5 points. So that's why I first of all laughed. So what came out in the first conversation I had was the need for education, intentional education. And that education must cut across various stakeholders. Very importantly, the regulators. We were happy to hear the conversations around the pension funds, that there's that readiness, but regulations need to remove the barriers that should allow pension fund administrators pursue their mandate. And education too for the PFAs. Very important. The PFAs are willing, but alternative asset class is quite new to them. And I was glad to hear that some PFAs are already looking at opportunities in shaping alternatives for them to invest in, which they shouldn't be doing, which means the education should come from them. I mean, they should be part of the education, as well as the fund managers must be educated. Investors too need to be educated. And I also sat in this session on carbon finance. Carbon finance is a great opportunity. There must be education too for SMEs to take advantage of carbon financing. Second level of things I want to see happen is a very robust alternative market by this time next year. We need partnership with development finance institutions to help impact investing builders like Impact Investing Ghana's to design alternative assets for pension funds to invest in. I think collaboration too is something I want to see by this time next year. Development finance institutions should not dominate the market anymore. How do we unlock capital from institutional investors like the private fund? Ghana's pension fund is ready. What do we need to do to unlock more capital so DFIs do not dominate the market? DFIs can partner by providing technical assistance to help with designing alternative assets for pension funds to invest in. That's one of the things I want to see. I'd like to see an increase in engagement with regulators, policymakers. Policy must help to build the market infrastructure to unlock capital. So that engagement must be structured. I didn't see enough policymakers in the room. How do we get regulators and policymakers in the room so that we can have very meaningful engagement with them? So I think I'll just pause here and allow some other people to reflect on what they heard. Thank you.
Can we have a round of applause? Thank you very much. So, pension funds, investments, let's remove the barriers. You want to see a vibrant alternative market, more collaboration. Next year, we want to see policymakers in the room. Today, we had one in the other room, unfortunately. So those who are in that room will reflect what he said. Amma was there. Okay. What, you want us to have 10? Okay. Collaboration, and then engagement with regulators, policymakers, and so on. Great. So, Amma, your reflections.
Thank you, Percy. There's a lot of talk about regulation and policy in our space all the time. Percy and I have many conversations, but I think it's really time for us to have regulatory stability. That's really become a bottleneck for a lot of our fund managers locally. So hopefully this time next year, we have the level of engagement which will really allow us to understand the potential of this industry to drive job creation, pension contributions, job creation, all the factors that we all know about and talk about every day. We need to have regulatory stability. I think that's the key thing that I want to highlight, and for us to really find ways to work on at the very highest level. The second issue is also pipeline. Everyone talks about pipeline around SMEs themselves, but also, fund managers, our talent. How do we develop career pathways that are attractive to people to enter this space? And again, make Ghana a hub for this kind of marketplace in a way that is competitive across the region at least. So I think those are the key things that I have taken away from today's deliberations. Beyond what Itamari said, he really covered everything, so made our job easy.
Thank you very much. Pipeline, job creation, pension funds, right? The pipeline thing is quite interesting. So I think we had one of our portfolio companies come and talk about what he's doing. It was very, very, very great. I mean, all of us learned a lot from him. So maybe the SMEs in the room, if they were there, would have learned how he started and what he meant when he said, you don't need capital to start. I'm sure everybody was looking at, what's he talking about? We are selling money here. But I think he explained it. It was very insightful. He talked about how he started bootstrapping and using the resources he had until he got to a point where he needed venture capital to come in. And then today he started from, I think, 3 acres. Now he's looking at 1,000 hectares of palm oil. So that pipeline building is very key. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much, Percy. In fact, I was in that session as well. And I think it was insightful to see how the government interventions translate, into real outcomes. But reflecting overall on what has transpired today, right from the plenary session on the potential that the pensions hold. I mean, I can't stop thinking about it. I just close my eyes and I see the $7 billion, dollars equivalent in assets on one side. And I think what struck me was the missing piece, that the gap is about design, governance, and capacity. So we are at a time where we have such huge potential funds there, but the problem is design, governance, capacity. How can we use innovative finance to facilitate this capital moving to where it is needed most? So SMEs, small businesses who need these funds, At Impact Invest in Ghana, I think our long-term outlook for the next 10 years, we are focused on unlocking capital, number one. So we have this moonshot goal for ourselves, $1 billion equivalent in impact capital. And we are focused on ecosystem capacity and collaboration and pipeline, because there must be firms who are ready to be able to absorb this. And then we are focused on research, advocacy, and then policy. But I'd like to just single out one of the funds that, which is meant to be a demonstration fund that we call a NUSE fund. NUSE is an ever word for strength. And this is a fund that we are designing that is targeting early stage businesses. Going to make capital available, in a patient way, in a flexible way, to meet the peculiar needs of early stage businesses, because that is a hard to reach market. We've heard about entrepreneurs and their struggles, and we are going to take the lessons that we have learned from Chikaba in terms of blended finance and all of that, and then how to be able to deploy this in innovative ways, whether it's revenue-based lending, whether it's hybrid instruments, equity debt, and then deploy this. And we've had some commitments from partners, and we're inviting interested partners who want to build on the successes that we have chalked so far to join us in that effort to unlock more of this impact capital so that it's able to reach the hardest segments, like early stage businesses who are starting out. Thank you.
Yeah, so I will say that my session started from last week, Thursday, for the deal rooms, Deal Source Africa, for those of you that don't know. We connect businesses across Africa to investors, venture capital, private equity, and banks. So last week, Thursday, we had a virtual deal room where we had investors that do not have presence in Ghana engage in businesses, not just Ghanaian businesses, but businesses from other African countries as well. And this morning, we had our in-person deal room. And I would say in total, for the deal rooms, we had about 12 funds meeting over 20 businesses. And there is an interest to follow up with these businesses. And we are really definite that we should be able to close a deal. I'm saying this because we've been able to close 8 deals. So it's something we have done before and we intend to do more of. And then for this afternoon session, we did an investor connect. So in the past, whenever we have summits like this, businesses would pay to attend with the intention of meeting an investor. And usually when you see people walk down the lobby, you can't tell that this or that person is an investor. So we gave businesses the opportunity to pitch. We guided them. And the beautiful thing was that there were businesses that came in and said, I'm too scared, I don't want to talk. But by the time others were pitching, they now wanted to talk. And after they spoke, they had investors raise their hand and say, I want to talk to you. For us, what we want to see by the next GIS is that we want to be able to say, we closed this deal from the meetings we had. And the team is poised to provide hand-holding to these businesses and keep connecting them to investors to ensure that that becomes our story. Thank you.
So next year, what's the volume of deals that we expect to close? Maybe $1 billion?
Percy, you're putting me in a tight
Okay,
but definitely you will get some deals.
Let's reduce it. Let's reduce it to $100 million. That is possible.
You drive a hard bargain.
But the most important thing is we want to see these deals close. I think Deal Source Africa is doing something wonderful, bridging the gap between entrepreneurs and investors, particularly those, of course, who will not be in the same room now, those who are online or somewhere, that they will know that. I think, when was it? A few weeks ago, we did something. No, it wasn't a few. It was a webinar we did as part of this seminar. And one of the comments from the entrepreneurs was that they don't even have the information available to them to know that even a session like this exists, that there's Zinari Capital, there's Injaro, there's a Deal Source Africa. They don't have a clue. So, institutions and programs like Deal Source Africa bridging that gap is wonderful. And next year, you are saying we should look forward to 100 million. Please mark it down, $100 million deals done next year.
I never said 100 million.
You didn't say that.
But we will close some good deals, even more than 100
Let's put our hands together for
maybe
that.
Maybe it will be a 200.
Abraham.
So thank you. And for me, the beginning and one of the sessions at the end is what stuck with me. The beginning where the question was, all this while we have been saying there's no money, or money is going to government. Now money is not going to government, and where are the opportunities? I think one of the questions that was asked at the very beginning, and it told me that, are we prepared for the opportunity or wait for the opportunity to get prepared? And I think that one of the things that we'll have to do after here is everybody in this space should be ready for when the opportunity presents itself. Because we can't anticipate it, but we should be ready when it came. One other one from the last session was giving money or setting up a fund and doing impact investing looks big, but ultimately it comes to an individual. When you give the money to a company, it will trickle down all the way to the decision in a boardroom, in a management meeting for a person to say, we made profit of this amount, we made loss of this amount, but this obligation is there, we are going to pay. And I remember Alex saying one of the things that stuck with me, that if we all make our mind that we will take a loan in our individual capacity and pay back, collectively, we reduce the MPL, which will mean more funding goes to us. And so for me, those two, the beginning and the commentary at the end, are stuck with me, and I think we should go being generational in our thinking to just not beyond, to go beyond what we will get for ourselves, but what we'll live for posterity and those that will come after us. Maybe one other thing that I would want to see is another, maybe not another, 2 Chigabas a year from today. I remember last year when the conversation was we are looking at, we are talking. A year on, we are about celebrating that milestone. Thankfully, there has been lessons learned. There have been hurdles cleared. It should be easier to do 2 more a year from today, and that's what a success will be to me from the conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abraham. I think everything he said, wonderful, apart from a new fund of funds in 12 months' time. Now, hands up those fund managers who think this is possible. I'm not being negative. We have some, please. That's great. So next year, we have some fund managers. I imagine they are fundraising right now. So please, the LPs who are here, there's a potential to launch another fund of funds next year. But regardless, whether or not we're able to launch, we are celebrating one tomorrow. And that is a milestone in itself. And even if we can't do another one in a year's time, we are gradually getting to the point where we'll be seeing many of, I think last year I moderated this fund of funds session. Whether or not fund of funds have a place in Ghana. I did that, right? Thank you, my memory is right. And tomorrow, we are launching that fund of funds. So maybe a round of applause. We have done what we wanted to do. So that is great, Abraham. Thank you very much for that. I will ask each of you one last question, and then I will throw it to the audience for us to have the discussion with them as well. I think we've talked a lot about it, but I want you to kind of nail it down. Maybe Jacina has done that by telling us in number terms, 100 million. Abraham says, one fund. I want to hear from Amma and the rest. Yeah, nail it down. What will success look like? Especially as pertains to the impact investing ecosystem. What will success for you look like in a year's time? And let me extend it maybe 5 years' time. Short term, medium, long term. This is a consultant, Brofo. So let's start from Yao and then we go. What will success look like quickly?
Yes, thank you very much, Percy. For us, we have engaged the stakeholders in the pensions, and they've told us that they are committed to investing $250 million over the next 3 years. So within a 5-year window, I mean, that's going to be success for us if we're able to unlock that amount that is going to be deployed, find its way to funds and businesses to create jobs, to drive growth. That will be success.
So Impact Investing Ghana and GVCA have been able to originate $2 million for the ecosystem. So I'd like a 0 on that number. Add a 0 to that number. For technical assistance facilities, so we can design more fund of funds on alternatives to that. Chigaba is one, it's a fund of fund, but there are other alternatives we can design. So let's put a 0 on the 2. Call me later, guys.
So 20 million, we've done 2 million this year. Our aim is 20 million next year, so we'll be measuring that. Thank you.
because it was the call I heard from Amma when she called for that. So I wanted to end with that. So now I have to think about something. So what would I like to see? It is important to have political alignment that unlocks capital for impact investment. I'm really passionate in seeing domestic capital taking the leadership. So between now and then, I would love to see more domestic capital taking leadership in unlocking impact investment in Ghana, in fact, West Africa and Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What I want to see is we now, they say pension funds are getting close to 100 billion, and only about $15 million or so has gone into, I think it's more now, right? With Chigaba launch, maybe about 45. So my humble aim is that we reach at least 120 million of pension fund allocation in Ghana by next year. That means a difficult job for Abraham because he's at the forefront of getting these pension funds, the product. But I know it's not easy. As we see all these commitments, it's not easy, but if we are committed to it, it can be done just like we are doing Chigaba tomorrow. Let me throw some questions out to the audience for them to also reflect. And the first question is, what do we want to see change in Ghana's impact investing ecosystem by the time we reconvene next year? What will success look like in terms of capital mobilized, partnerships formed, or enterprises supported? That will be the first question. Should I repeat that? Anybody wants to take that, or a couple of people wants to reflect on that? Let me repeat the question. Maybe I read it too fast, so nobody is coming up. It's not exam, so this one, everybody can come up and... Barbara, I'll bring you the microphone. What do we want to see change in Ghana's impact investing ecosystem by the time we reconvene next year? What will success look like in terms of capital mobilized? I think we've talked a little bit about the numbers. Partnerships formed or enterprises supported. So we've talked about ours. Jacina's talked about the deal room and about the numbers. What does the audience think? What do you want to see? What will success look like? And what change do you want to see in the impact investing ecosystem in Ghana? Anybody? Yeah, Amma.
So for me, I think we need to build a pipeline of funds that can absorb some of that pension money. So in a year's time, I want to see some of our existing funds closing a second fund, or to see a few new funds in the market that have a unique value proposition that makes business sense. So money that will create an alpha, will create a better return than what we currently have in the market.
So we want to see a pipeline of funds coming through next year. Okay, thank you.
For me, the word would be around partnership, so collaboration. We spent the better part of last year mapping organizations in Ghana's impact investing ecosystem, and everybody is doing things in their own little silo. So Rwanda just launched the Innovate Rwanda platform, which is government mandated for all ESOs, for all businesses, for all investors, for all angels to register. And for me, if we could build something like that in Ghana, where entrepreneurs can find funding, where ESOs or transaction advisors can find pipeline, we work together and we use the money that is already in the system in the best possible way, that would really help us.
Anybody else? Yes. Thank you very much, Barbara. Can you give Barbara the microphone, please? Okay, and then Dinah after.
I would like to see more local fund managers being supported, because For a long time, when we talk about impact investing, it's been more of from foreign sources. But we want to see more capacity building and amongst the local fund managers. But I also would love to see more female fund managers. So that now when we are counting fund managers in Ghana, there will be a lot more of us females. That way, more funding and support will roll out to our female founders as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would also like to see more success stories on the part of the SMEs. We're talking about local capital or capital mobilization. So as we mobilizing capital for these SMEs, we want to see the impact that the capital mobilization is having on them. So I would love to see more success stories, more exits on the businesses that we support next year. Thank you.
Okay, there's one hand at the back.
Thank you. For me, I'd like to see two things. One, I'd like to see an impact summit that is all inclusive. So all organizations that organize similar summits come together and have a single summit so that we know that in Ghana, anytime they talk impact summit, we have people talking about the same thing and we are collaborating together as one big country. The second thing I would like to see is that in the deal rooms, we actually close the deals there and then backstep to work on the documentation. Those are the two things I would like to see.
Thank you very much. I think that's a charge for Justina. Thank you. Anybody else? So if I got this pipeline, we need to build more pipeline. And the pipeline refers to the fund managers, success stories, impact summit, and then we should close the deals in the deal room. It shouldn't remain a room. It should be somewhere we execute and get employees. Now I can't read my handwriting. No. Collaboration. Collaboration, I think you mentioned collaboration, that we should not be doing fragmented things, but we should come together and collaborate more and work together. Anybody else? Yes.
I would also add that I think we need to look at the smaller pools of capital. I don't think we take seriously enough impact investing, crowdfunding, and all those opportunities that are come up to be able to pool small resources. And everybody feels like it needs to be a big fund or you need to fundraise in millions. But if we take advantage of angel investing, crowdfunding, we'll be able to get businesses to the point where they are ready to take the bigger investments. So it can help with investor readiness.
Thank you. By the way, I forgot to summarize, there was another one, and very important, more women fund managers. More women fund managers. Because as we had, the webinar we had, we noticed that if you have a woman fund manager, she understands it better. And if we are targeting more inclusive businesses, more women, it will be helpful to have women fund managers who can understand business models and how women actually respond to some of the demands that we make of them when it comes to entrepreneurship journey. Yes. There's one there. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you. So mine will be, if you're talking about impact, then we are looking at the quality and also quantity of data that we have. And so next year, we want to see all the collaborators here, they're telling us that they've been able to provide relevant data that actually contributes in telling the story of the impact ecosystem. So next year, GVCA, any other actor over here should be able to say that I've been able to commit or share data that helps us to tell the story that we are all looking forward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Oh, okay, we have one from Isaac. And then the last 15 minutes, the panel can take it and give some final closing words. Isaac.
Can I go?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. In line with what Alice probably mentioned about collaboration and more of the summit, organizers coming together, I think I will probably, really important, want to see a more like a programmatic impact summit. What I mean by programmatic is that when we come here next year, we're actually talking about what are the challenges that the funds that have localized to fund SMEs actually facing as a challenge. So we build on everything we are talking now, and then in the back rooms, we actually work towards next year. And then every year we're working towards something new and then make it really actionable so that we don't talk about the same things all the time, but then we actually see some progress in terms of what we do every year, building on what we have done and actually really solving some of those problems in the back room and in the rooms and carrying it forward to the next year and building on all the things that we are doing and not talking about the same thing all the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Isaac, briefly,
Yes.
and then we go to the panel.
I would love to see more of efficiency in fund structuring. And the KPI there will be seeing a successful enactment of the Limited Partnership Act, such that if you're talking about patient capital, we don't commit to funds as debt, even though it's a private equity fund or venture capital fund. I mean, let's see a reduce in these complexities in commitment and capital return.
Okay, so I hope I've been fair to everybody. I think everybody has had a chance. Let me throw the last 12 minutes to the panelists. And I have this one before all of you say your last words. Something that keeps ringing. There's a lot of money available, but the SMEs can't get it. I have my own opinion. I was sharing that earlier on, but I want to hear from you. Is this statement really true? There's a lot of money, and the SMEs or the companies simply can't get their hands on it, but there's a lot of money in the system. Is it true? Anybody?
Maybe let me take a bite. I sit on the side that say it's true, to the sense that when I look at the number of financial institutions in the country, if really there's no money, I don't expect them to be still operating, right? Because every staff has a KPI to meet a particular target. So what targets have they been meeting? It is fair to say maybe all the money goes to government, so they meet the target. But I believe that there is critical mass of capital to drive real economy locally. But what we have not had is a good conveyor of the deficit and the surplus side, bringing them together to ensure that money, no more than 50% goes to government, but the remainder goes to the real economy. That is where we have failed, and it comes back to my earlier position about how ready are businesses when the funding becomes available. That is my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody? Justina, yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Mine is a yes and a no. So yes, there is money. If I look at SMEs that come to the deal room and usually follow-ups from funds, some of the deals fall through the cracks because the SMEs are not ready to meet what the funds are looking for. Some because they are also not ready to put in the work. Even in organizing deal rooms, you get businesses that the moment they feel a resistance would withdraw and would not want to meet an investor. So it means that there is the funding in that sense, but these businesses might not and are not ready for it. My no comes in because to some extent, to the kind of funding that we have in the system, to a large extent, is not serving the need of the market. we have quite a lot of need that some of our our VCPE firms cannot serve. The amounts they are willing to give, what they are looking for. I believe if we are able to build some of the businesses from the very early stage and they get to a certain level, we'll be able to meet those needs. Even when it comes to angel investors, some angel investors are looking for businesses that have a particular level of traction, which in other countries is not that way. So that makes it difficult for us. So if we had more of that, we'll be able to bridge that gap to a large extent.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah.
Yes, so I think I'm also aligned with Justina that there's an issue on the supply side, the demand side. So per Venture Capital Trust Fund's anniversary report itself, it estimated says $15 billion finance gap for SMEs. But then the question is, how many of these SMEs are even ready for the capital that they are looking for? I mean, talk about governance, talk about systems and structures and all of that. So there's a lot more work on the side of the SMEs in terms of preparing them, there's investment readiness, advisory services, so that when they do even get access to that capital, it's supposed to be an investment. It's not supposed to be a gift, but it's supposed to be money deployed that will go and generate returns so that it will be returned to the investor and then the cycle continues. So yes, we need more capital to be available, but there's a lot of work in terms of capacity of small businesses to absorb the capital as well.
Okay.
Can I just add something?
Yes, Amma.
So there's a lady up here earlier, from the farming business. She said that it took her 7 years to get through 7 accelerator programs. I actually burst out laughing when I heard that. I couldn't help myself. We can't sustain that kind of thing. Luckily, she was able to reinvest in her business and she did the right things, $3,000, $5,000. She reinvested and she scaled her business successfully. She's probably 1 in 100 that would actually do that. So we need to get off this train of free money. There's no such thing as free money. But we have the mentality of free money. We have a problem. So I think that is something we need to look at in terms of credit, especially, non-performing loans we know are very high, 20%. I forget the latest statistic. But non-performing loans are a problem. People's attitude towards paying debts and also investing in their businesses to make themselves investable. So are SMEs prepared to build better businesses? And are they ready to invest in getting investment? Those are the key things we need to also look at very seriously.
Thank you very much. So the answer is mixed. And because it's mixed, I keep my opinions to myself. And on that note, we have 3 minutes. So very briefly, last thoughts. If there's anything that we have missed, you want to share very quickly. Punchy, one-liner or something you want to share. Start from there, 3 minutes, and then we go.
Thank you. I think to just start on the point of rules, collaboration is very important. Secondly, pipeline development. Monies cannot move at the speed and velocity we need for our market without preparing our local fund managers. So capacity building of fund managers to take money to frontline social enterprise and businesses is a strategy we should use for mobilizing capital. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we give you a round of applause? Let it keep coming. Amma.
Policy and regulation. We're trying to push for our Limited Partnerships Act and the VCTF amendment as well. GVC has been spearheading this interagency committee, which collaborates with the Security and Exchange Commission, the NPRA, all of the good things. But it's slow, right? So any partnerships that can help us to get things over the line quickly, we're very open to doing that. So I think those kinds of things are really important. And the regulatory stability, we can't emphasize the importance of regulatory stability. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I say while we celebrate the successes that we have achieved, the opportunity is huge in terms of unlocking capital, deploying this capital through innovative vehicles so that they can meet the needs of SMEs. So we invite partnerships, we need to collaborate, we need to work together. So we are consolidating what we are doing rather than duplicating what we are doing. And then we achieve more that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we clap for him, please? Thank you.
For me, I would
100
say
million. Don't say any more.
100 million. But I would still say if you're raising funding, the team is available. We are ready to assist you.
Thank you. A round of applause for Justina. Abraham.
I would say that Pension Capital has proven willingness to back good innovative assets and pathways. We should come to the market with very, very good innovative pathways, and the Pension Capital will follow. To the SMEs, I'll say this: no financial institution has an emergency unit. Plan your finances, don't raise capital when you're in an emergency. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abraham. I want to thank you all for your time, and particularly for the audience for spending the last mile with us. I hope that we have delivered on what I said. It will be insightful. I hope that you have taken something from here. We have some numbers in our head. I remember 100 million. I remember 20 million. I remember collaboration. I remember the women pipeline, and so on. I believe many people also remember a lot of things. Mr. Angel is looking at me, so our time is up. We can't take any more questions, but thank you very much. And I believe that there is networking afterwards. So thank you very much once again. Let's put our hands together for our panelists. Thank you.
Session, I'd like to invite for the closing remarks, board member of IIGH, director and shareholder of Century Aviation Limited. Let's welcome Isiano Saki. Let's give her all the energy and the vim, because we are the last people here. Let's make it interesting for her. Yeah, you can give her a whoop. Why not? Woo! Yeah. You got fans.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah. I spoke to a number of people about how the day had been, and the unanimous verdict that it's been a huge success. So this is great. Distinguished guests, partners, speakers, and participants, as we bring the summit to a close, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on the experiences together. And this last panel session has given me a lot to reflect on. There's talk about job creation, unleashing, access to pension funds, financial education, patient capital for early stage businesses, and so much more. We have not simply gathered, we have engaged, we have challenged ideas, and we have been reminded what is possible when purpose meets action. One thing is clear: impact is not an abstract concept, it's intentional. It is built through choices, daily, consistent, and sometimes sacrificial. Ghana stands at a unique moment, a moment filled with opportunity, innovation, responsibility. The conversations do not end in this room. And like the board chair said, they must travel with us into our businesses, our institutions, our policies, and our personal lives. It shouldn't be just discussions. So let's leave here with 3 commitments. 1, to act, to collaborate, and to sustain. To our speakers, panelists, thank you for your insight and generosity. To our partners, those who organized this conference, thank you very much for your vision and dedication. To every participant here, thank you for showing up, not just with your presence, but with your willingness to engage and contribute. As we depart, let's remember the true success of this summit will not be measured by what is said here, but by what is done after we leave. So I remember the figures 10 million and 20 million. Let's make it happen. The future we seek to build for Ghana is not somewhere ahead of us. It is something we begin to create today. So thank you all and enjoy the rest of the evening. God bless you all. Thank you.